I would like to call the April 6th construction contract workshop public meeting to order. It is 4:32 p.m. There's a quorum present. Notice of this meeting has been posted in a time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Cliff Williams.
Present.
Scott Carson.
Present.
Kyle Hagemeyer.
Present.
Paulette Traylor.
Present.
Miss Nikki Ladway.
Present.
Missing members, Mr. Charles Perry. Birthday, some ladies running late. My name is Chad Jones. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Blake Henshaw.
Thank you, sir, and thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it, and setting aside time. I know it's early, and y'all have work, so I appreciate y'all inviting me up here. And so today, what we'll be talking about is the construction procurement methods, construction contracts, do's and don'ts, pitfalls, the good things and the bad things. We know that the district has a lot of construction going on, and so I think this is a good just overview of the different processes that you can use, the board's role in those different processes, and then and some potential good things and bad things. So these are the most common procurement, contract, and other issues, and how to avoid issues in those. So if a board is going to build something, here's a scenario. Is renovating 4 buildings and constructing at least 1 new school. The board's unfamiliar with the construction process, which none of y'all are. Y'all, this is kind of the slides are more of a, I would say, a beginner version. I know y'all have gone through a lot of construction, and you've had, and so I'll show you the slides, but we'll talk on, I would say, more of an intermediate to advanced level as we go into these scenarios. So over the course of a construction process, we're talking about what needs to happen, what is, who performs those duties, who has the authority, who has the obligations, what roles can and should the district handle on its own, what roles will be performed by third parties, what's the role of the board, and what's the role of your employees, administration, and otherwise. So the process overview, and y'all are well into this, but it's always good to look at it on a 50,000 foot level of what a construction project's going to look like. You have your strategic planning, and I think y'all are, because you're growing, this is a kind of a circle for you guys. It's not, a lot of districts, they'll pass 1 bond in a 20-year period, right? And that's it. But y'all are continually growing. So rather than 2 X's that you see on this kind of linear path, because y'all are growing so much, y'all are more of like a circle, right? Because you're gonna, and sometimes that circle is overlapping with each other. You'll be doing parts of it, while other parts are still going on. So you have your strategic planning, and I think you have some of that going on right now, which is kind of the beginning of the process for some facilities in the future, and maybe looking at future bonds, while you have some older bonds that you're closing out, right, that are already at project closeout and substantial completion. You have additional projects that are kind of in the middle of it, that where you've done your strategic planning, have your project design, you've already got through procurement and contracting, you're in the middle of construction, you got some projects that will be going out to procurement soon, some pretty big ones, and so as it goes, y'all are all throughout. You get projects that are all throughout this continuum, this spectrum here. But it's good to see it from a 50,000 foot view and take a look at it. That's kind of the big picture. Who's responsible for what. We've got the little icons up there as to who's involved, how they should be involved. So strategic planning, project design. Again, I know that y'all, I think it's on the agenda tonight actually, is to hire a facility, to approve this facilities evaluation agreement. So that's done by a professional. They're going to, as part of that, they're going to look at your current needs, projected growth, figure out, start perhaps even doing more land acquisition, and start considering pre-construction, and then ultimately end up in the design phase, to hire your architects and engineers. So that typically how it works is you do your facilities, you kind of figure out where you're going with it, and then if you decide after you do a facility survey that you need to grow some more, you're going to have your typically hire an architect to assist you with that pre-bond planning, right? So if you're going to go out for another bond, an architect would be the one to help you do that pre-bond planning, for looking into the future. Also, you hire other professionals, real estate professionals, to help you look, for potential land deals where you're going to grow to, and then so that, at the beginning phase, that's what it's going to look like. So the design professional, what is their role? That's your architect and engineer. For every project, from the beginning all the way through the end, your architect or engineer, they are your representative on the project. In the contracts that I draft, that they execute, they represent you. They help you make decisions, and they make sure the project is progressing as is, provided in the contract. They are the first decision maker on any disputes. So if there's a dispute based on the pricing, right? The contractor says we bid it for this, but it's costing more. They're the first decision maker, or whether more time should be given. We ran into some issues. It rained all month. We need an additional month if the contractor requested that. The architect would be that decision maker. I'm pretty sneaky in the contracts that I do. We actually define what a rainy day would mean. So we try to put all that in there. But you have to have a decision maker, and you're delegating that authority to your architect or engineer on each project to oversee it, to make those initial decisions, and if there's issues, to come back to you. So they obviously are responsible for design, right? They surprisingly, before I started this years ago, I thought architects architect, they design the building and make the blueprints, plans, specs, that's it. That's not really the case. They really earn their money in managing the project, right, and overseeing it and making sure that everything's timely and done correctly. And they certify your payments as well. All payouts have to go through your architect or engineer on the project. They're the ones that go and make sure, okay, they've said that they've installed all the plumbing. All right, they're supposed to go out there, verify plumbing's done. And they will certify to the owner, to you, okay, we can pay that. They also certify substantial completion when the project is done, make sure that it actually is done. They will help, prepare and draft any punch list to finalize it, and they will make that certification that the project has hit the substantial completion milestone. They offer procurement assistance. Oftentimes, that's how much, if you want to use them or not. I know that they will assist typically in doing your RFPs. Or if you're, for the CMAR process, or if you're doing a CSP for general contractors, that's all part of their agreement that they will help provide help with that. Now, how much y'all have a good procurement team here, so you don't have to rely on heavy. I work with a lot of small districts too. That it's just me and the architect kind of running all that. They have a superintendent who's in charge of everything else. They don't have construction folks nor purchasing folks. So. Luckily, you all have a good team that handles both of those. You don't have to rely on them as heavy. But architect or engineer, both. When do you have to hire them and why? So it's in the law, right? It requires school districts to hire an architect or an engineer if it's a new building, if it's to be used for education, assembly, office occupancy, and the construction exceeds $100,000, or alteration or construction costs exceed $50,000, and alteration addition requires removal, relocation, or addition of walls, partitions, or exits. So that one's pretty easy, right? If you're moving walls, if you're doing an alteration, remodel of the building, and it's going to cost you more than $50,000, you have to have an architect if you're doing anything, but especially if you're moving walls or any type of design, you're going to have an architect. Engineer. And so another thing too, if any project requires drawings, this is one that comes up a lot, and I think we've even a bit had it here. Fencing, right? Do you have to have an architect or engineer for fencing? I say if you're replacing fencing, no, right? You already know where the fence is going to go. But if you got to have somebody come in and draw plans as to where you put the fencing, the law requires that if plans are drawn, you have to hire an architect or an engineer to do those plans, and you have to have them manage the project. They don't make it easy for public entities, right? They don't. A lot of these laws you'll notice, and we'll talk about it. I find it fascinating because I'm I guess a law nerd, and I don't know when I do this, but I find it kind of fascinating the contradictions in the law. Like so much of the law when I say the law, I'm talking about construction law. So much of the law that you deal with, it really is going to push competitive best price, right? And a lot of your procurement, it's about you got to get the best price. On this. And then many other parts of the law cost the school district tons and tons of money on purpose. And we'll talk about some of those, like wage rates. It costs a ton more money, but it's clear in the law what the law requires. Additional hiring architect and engineers. Do you need an architect or an engineer to put up a new fence? You could probably do it and sketch it out. But the law, I guess the architects and engineers, they have great lobbyists, and no, I know they may be here. What's that?
That's the most honest thing, right?
Well, there's
somebody's got to get their pay.
Yeah. There's some interesting other things in law, but hey, I'm not throwing them because I work with them a lot, and they do a great job, and hey, the law is what it is. So that it is. So engineers, you have to have an engineer if there's electrical or mechanical engineering involved, and it's the job costs more than $8,000. Or if there's no electrical mechanical engineering, if they're not involved, expenses, if the job is more than $20,000. There's also there's some other things. If it has anything to do with student safety, you have to have one, and that always comes down to we need an architect or an engineer, like say on a track. I get asked that all the time. I think that when it talks about student safety, it requires an architect or an engineer. Well, if it's not done right, it's not level, and it got me, a kid could fall and hurt themselves, and that's pretty broad, student safety, right? So I always give the conservative advice, when I'm interpreting that and say, yes, you're gonna need an architect or engineer. Plus, again, remember, they're your boots on the ground, they're the ones certifying it, they're the ones doing those things. It's a lot more than just making the drawings. So common mistakes are not realizing that you need a design professional, right? It's just a smaller project. We're just doing smaller project, but maybe it involves mechanical or electrical. And if it's more than $8,000, it may be a small $10,000 job. But if you're dealing with any changes to mechanical or electrical, then you require a law to hire, an engineer. So. Some of the pitfalls there, again, like the fencing, you go the correct thing, say if you got plans, and it is student safety fencing, you got a couple of issues there that are laid out in the law as to why you have to hire them. Adopting a prevailing wage rate schedule. A school district is required to adopt, and that is the board has to adopt every year annually a prevailing wage rate, and that you use that wage rate for all your projects. And 2258.022 is the law that it governs prevailing wage rates. And this is one of the ones I was just talking about. This costs the school district a lot more money. And I promise you that. If you did not have to follow this law, you could save a lot of money. But the statute's clear, and the case law interpreting the statute, in fact, a recent case that just came out this past Christmas, a school district did not follow this. They were sued, their projects were shut down. And lastly, it has criminal penalties. If you do not follow this, it says anybody involved can face criminal penalties. Now, it's a misdemeanor, but as your lawyer, anything when it says criminal penalties, I'm going to tell you, follow the law, because I don't see any of y'all go to jail or me or anything, right? Because I'm involved, I'm not going to pay a fine. So that is there again. This costs the district tons of money, but some of the things that is required in the law is not there to save you money. It's there to be a public benefit, right, to your community, so that your contractors are paid higher wages. So the only wage rates that you can use are either a wage survey you perform on your own, and that is a survey inside your district. It can only be contractors inside the physical boundaries of Willis ISD. You have to perform, the survey of each trade category that you would need. I will tell you, this is never successful. There's lots of case law on that. It's just not successful. And in fact, the last case that came out over Christmas, the district used a third party. There's several third-party wage surveys that I see going around, and I always give the same advice. You cannot use those. I think there's an architect that's put one out. There's the Gulf Coast, something. Texas A&M, the one in the case that went out was Texas A&M. Their construction science department has wage surveys. And again, for private contractors, not in the public sector, that's fine. They use that to determine rates and all that. But they relied on the Texas A&M ones in that case, and the court said absolutely not. It says Texas A&M on it. It didn't say whatever ISD on it, right? So you can't use it. Hey, you didn't do it. You can't outsource your obligations to do a wage survey. And the district said, well, all the case law out there, it's almost impossible to do the wage survey. And the court said, yes, we know. That's why we gave you the other option, which is to use the Davis-Bacon wage rates. And again, are those expensive wage rates? Yes, they are. They're way more. And so all the subs on the job, all that, they're going to get paid more than they would probably going down the road and working in private construction on a private job. Because those rates are going to be higher. But that's I don't know what else to tell you. That's the law. There's plenty of case law on a brand new one on it. I know districts that make decisions otherwise, but my job is to say, hey, that's law's clear. There's case law on it is clear, so I don't recommend it. So common mistakes is not adopting wage rates. So every year you need to adopt wage rates and either perform a survey. Again, that y'all can do that. Getting one that actually is going to work. Good luck with that. Or you can adopt Davis-Bacons. Not updating the adopted wage rates. Again, you have to do it every year. Now, when I say every year, if you've started a project, it's like a 2-year project, which many are like a big construction, maybe 2 or 3 years before you got your substantial completion. So the wages paid on that, those wage rates don't change because the job was bid, under the wage rates that existed at that time and the wage rate that was adopted by the board at that time. So they don't have to continually, it's not escalating as the Davis-Bacon wages go up. Your contractor, your CMR, your general contractor, whoever you use, they don't have to continually scale what they're paying their subs. It's set based on when the wage rate in effect that the board had adopted at that time when you approved the project and when you approved the contract. It's locked at those rates, which makes sense, right? It wouldn't make fair for it wouldn't be fair for a contractor to say, I'm going to build this building for $1 million, but then every 6 months when wage rates are updated, they're having to pay subs more and more every 6 months. That wouldn't be obviously a tenable solution, so that's not required. Again, using a survey of wage rates created by a third-party group, common issue. So now we're going to talk about construction delivery methods. Understanding available delivery methods. It's going to help you determine what construction team, roles and what you need to fill. So there's the design, build, bid, and that's what we call that the traditional method. That's basically your CSP, right? You hire an architect. They go out there, they design it, they have all their plans and specs are completed. Then you send it out to, I'm not going to say bid because bid means something different under the law. I'm going to say for proposals, competitive sealed proposals. And I'll tell you how they're different and why you don't want to use bids. But so you would send it out for competitive sealed proposals. You can use traditional low bid. I don't recommend that, and I will tell you why. If you do low bid, you're stuck with that price and you're stuck with the change. You can't negotiate with them. You can't negotiate the change of scope. It's that price is what they're going. Now that may work on a smaller project. That we're just going to do that, and it's an actual hard bid. That's it. It's the number. You don't look at anything else, right? But that comes with some risk. And one of the things I say is, we all want to save money and we want to get the most value for our money. But sometimes. I work with tools. I like going to Harbor Freight, and getting their tools because they're super cheap. But sometimes it's better to go ahead and get a Matco or a better, a Craftsman wrench, even though it may cost 2 or 3 times, depending on the tool, right? Most tools, if they're going to break in 3, sometimes the lowest cost thing is not going to be the best. And certainly, your governmental entity, you're a steward of tax dollar funds, right? And you want to build something that's going to last. So oftentimes going out to Harbor Freight and buying something with taxpayer funds is not the best idea, even if it does save money. So that's why we don't recommend typically doing low bid. And not only that, again, you're stuck with whoever it is, and whatever their bid is, you're stuck with the scope. You can't negotiate anything after that. It is what it is. It locks you in. And I would say that nobody. I work with obviously lots and lots and lots of school districts doing this, and I've not once in the 10 years that I've done this have I ever done a straight bid on a construction project. It's just not done because of those reasons. The method, y'all are familiar with this. You have used this method on larger projects. Y'all have the the 9th grade center, the transportation center. We're doing this. What else? Elementary 7, yes. So we got we've got a lot of projects that we're utilizing this method. Construction manager at risk. So that is where we hire a design professional, and then right after we hire a construction manager at risk. Plans aren't done yet. Plans and specs aren't done yet. This construction manager is going to, after a competitive bidding process, construction manager actually starts at the very beginning with the architect, helps save the district money. They act as the kind of, hey, yeah, I know you designed this, but from my experience, the district could save money if they went with this other material. They offer what we call value engineering during the design process to help you save money. And so the purpose of a CMA, they're construction manager at risk, and what it means, they're going to manage your project for a fee percentage. That's how they make their money. They get a percentage of however much the project costs, the cost of work. And then as part of that, once they do all the bidding for you, so they go out and bid all the subcontractors, and then they come to the district and say, they present what's called a guaranteed maximum price. You'll probably seen those in it. And that is the price that they've guaranteed it, right? And that's what the at-risk part means. There's construction manager agent, which is a different method we'll talk about, but construction manager at risk means that they are at risk because they've guaranteed you a price. And if it comes in more than that, then they are responsible. They don't get more money from you. Sometimes we get arguments. I've had an argument, and I'm like, literally, it's in the name, at risk. You took the risk. I'm sorry that it costs more, but right. This is, and what we signed is called a guaranteed maximum price. So I understand. I've got sympathy for those guys, especially with escalating prices and steel and trade tariffs. It's tough. It's tough to forecast all that, but that's what this method requires. It requires you to give a guaranteed maximum price and to stick with that, and they make a percentage fee from that. You can procure a construction manager at risk in 2 different ways. There's what's called the 2-step procurement method. I think I've done it one time, and I was like, that was dumb. I don't even know why we did it that way. Or the 1-step is what y'all use. In case you're curious, the 2-step is done like you're procuring a professional, meaning the first step is you're only going to look at qualifications, and you're not going to look at anything about pricing, what their percentage fee is. And then you pick your top 3 or 4 based on qualifications, and then the second step is to get the pricing and negotiate with them. I don't recommend it. I don't even know why it's in the law. I really think just the 1-step process where you have their qualifications along with their pricing all in one fell swoop just makes a lot more sense to me. And 2-step usually takes 2 months, right? You got a couple of board meetings that you're going through, and it's just a lot longer.
You want us to wait till the end to ask questions?
No, you can anytime.
On this right here, what do you typically see in the state on the rubric as far as what does the price come into play on that stuff?
So price, the law says that your price can be no lower, as a percentage, it can be not less than 39.6%. I know it's 39 point something percent. Why they chose 39 point something percent, I have no idea. I guess your question is, what is it typically?
What do you typically?
Somewhere between.
I know there's fluctuations.
50 to 60%. 50 to 60%, right? It depends on the project. It depends on the board. That's a board decision right there. That is something that you would decide. How to weight when you send out the RFP. Y'all have that authority, and that is.
Okay, so my question is that a board board decision, or is that a procurement department decision as to how that value is?
Well, I mean, typically, I would say the way it typically works is you're brought an RFP, right? And I think there's someone, it may be on this agenda. It's in there, so that rubric's in there. And so, but you certainly have the authority as the board. I mean, the administration recommends on each project what the rubric's gonna be, and then the board, if it's on your consent agenda and you vote for it, that's what it is. If you don't like it, you pull it and you can discuss it and you can change it at that time. You absolutely have that authority to do that.
Are you asking who sets the percentage?
Correct.
I think he was asking like, I'm new, and I say, I think it should be 30-70 or whatever. Or am I deciding that with my team, or is that the board giving me some advice as, this is what we'd like you to see? We're in a budget, whatever,
Yeah, no, I think that's it's certainly the board giving directions, because on every one they're gonna it'll be brought to the board to decide on every one when you look at an RFP. So you got to have some direction on what y'all are looking at before they can make a recommendation, because that's a decision that's highly local, right? It's only y'all can decide that, and so but the administration makes the recommendation, but ultimately the board makes the call, because you're going to have each RFP and you're going to have that rubric on there in order to prove it, right? And so you're going to, if you don't like it, pull it. The board in open session would talk about that and vote to change the numbers and make a motion. That's how it would work. But certainly, it's a loop, right? Getting feedback, getting feedback from the board about what they would like to see so that it doesn't get pulled is a good thing, right? Any questions about?
Unfortunately, they have a very not young, sorry, I'd like to say young, but we're learning, we're all learning, and so that's what I want to be the best that I can be and know how to take their advice.
Absolutely. And so, I would say as a board, the deal is every project's different. You may have we're going to do 60% on pricing, and you're going to break down the other ones generally. But you may have a project, it's really hard because every project is different, right? And so that requires some discretion on your administration to say, well, I think maybe price should be less on this one, because let's say you have, and when you do a competitive seal proposal, right, you have one of those things in there is the relationship with the district, right? So if you have a contractor that does a great job, you can weight that higher. Like this is going to be perfect for them, and you can weight pricing lower on that. And I'm saying I think some people would say, oh, well, that's weighting the deck for somebody, but the law absolutely allows for that when you can weight like the relationship with the district as a higher. You decide what those percentages are. The law only tells you the items that you have to weight. It doesn't tell you what those weights should be, other than pricing can be no less than 39 point. I'll remember the percentage, 6, 7, I can't remember, but does that make sense? It does not make sense?
Well, it makes sense, but we're not back there procuring the job. So the superintendent brings a recommendation to us, and we're going to approve it or disapprove it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we're looking at what she brings to us. We're either with it or not, but we're not back there in the mix deciding what's going to be what.
No.
Unless she asks us to do that.
Yeah. No. You would not. No. But that's a board. A board administration kind of a trust deal, right? It's one of those that you got to trust your folks that some things are going to be a little bit different, and it might change, and you might call it out on an agenda that this one deviates from the standard rubric. Maybe that way you look at it closer. There's different ways to handle that. I can't say there's a right way or a wrong way, but yeah, that's a relationship issue and of kind of. A trust issue, but trust but verify. That's why it's on the agenda, so that you can look at it, and if you don't like it, pull it.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Will there be a time can the public ask questions now, or is there a time at the end where they can ask questions?
Yeah, I'm fine answering questions at any time. Is there somebody in the public? Yes.
How have we been doing it? How have they been?
How have they been? Well, I would say it depends on the project, right? There's a lot of projects here, and out of all these, there'll be more methods that I'm going to describe. Depending on the type of project, some of these methods fit better. Bigger ones, like building a whole school, CMAR is typically, and that's what the district's been doing. For smaller like renovation projects, you might choose CSP. Now, again, these are just decisions that the school district can use any of these methods, right? It's not required to pick one for this type of project. But the school has been following all of these. They've just been using different ones, and that's standard. Different types of projects, schools will typically use different procurement methods.
So the school has been following the CMR method?
Have
Have they been procuring things properly through CMR?
Well, CMAR is not the only way to procure things.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. There's all these other
So when
methods.
they do send it out for CMR, you're saying that yes, we are doing that correctly?
When we're doing CMARs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
We are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as I know,
How long have you guys represented us?
our law firm?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many years. I've been working since, right before Dr. James got here, I've been doing the district's construction work right about the time she got here. So,
Okay.
okay.
So you go back, what, 2023?
No, it hasn't been that long.
About a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Just one more question. So I don't do them, but my husband bids a lot of schools.
Uh-huh.
Is Willis going to implement the bidding? It's all online, like you enter all the information, you enter all your bid and it's blind. So when they sit down to see all the stuff, they don't see what company it comes from or anything. They just see the numbers to do their.
We as a board don't make that determination. It's done through the general contractor that's hired,
That does all the.
that does all that.
Okay.
Well, you would have to see who it is, because you just said that the board or the superintendent decides how to weight everything and what the relationship, so.
For the
what is
construction
deciding
manager.
factor in a good relationship with the district?
This is for the board to decide.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly legal. I mean, how you weight that and how many points the board puts on that,
okay,
that it's absolutely for the board to decide.
okay.
So,
But we have been at this time,
so understand that the board gives the percentages to which the RFP is put out there and about how the different things are weighted, whether it's say price is 50%, relationships 20, all these other things. We don't do the rankings. The board doesn't do the rankings. The procurement department and admin is who does the rankings. So that's how that procedure's done. That's not something that the board goes through. That's not our responsibility, I'm saying, to rank them.
Yeah, you approve the rankings.
We approve the rankings, but we don't rank them.
That's
That
correct.
was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the next method, construction manager agent. This is not I know this is very exciting stuff, and nobody's asleep back there. I've done presentations with more exciting things. This is hard, but construction manager agent is it's not a method I recommend. But you know, it's out there. People use it. It's where you hire an agent. They go out rather than this is just like a CMAR. Except for they go out and they procure your subcontractors, but you have to actually do the procurement part for the subcontractors. All the contracts are between the school district and the subcontractor. They just kind of help guide you to find them. I've yet to see a benefit of this method because they're not at risk. You know, you have Bob who's doing what this would be, right? You have somebody in-house who is managing all of this and doing it. So it certainly, I don't think it'd be anything. I don't think it's a method that y'all would consider. Design build method. This is where you go out and you have one company that does the design, and then they do also the building of it, right? Makes sense, design build. Where this gets a little bit tricky is that in procurement of a design build, you have to use a two-step process, because first you evaluate them on their qualifications, right? Just like you would an architect, right? And then after you rank them based on their qualifications, only then can you see their pricing on the first, and on the most highly ranked, right? So, and lastly, and this is a misnomer, and I get this all the time, like, we're gonna enter this design build contract. They already have engineers that work for them that are gonna engineer. We don't have to hire our own engineers, right? Wrong. The law specifically says the district must have its own engineer review the plans and manage the project for them. So there are times when design build works fine. Like perfect example, metal buildings, right? They're already engineered, right? And so you buy, or another great one is like, I've done several design build contracts for press boxes, right? There are companies out there that they design them, they've had their design, and then they come in, but you still have to have your own engineer review those drawings, review those plans, stamp them as well, and also manage them and make sure that they're built in accordance with the design. So folks say, oh, because they have their own engineer, we're going to save a lot of money by using this. It doesn't work out that way because you still have to have your own engineer doing the same thing, unfortunately. It does in a few things. Like I said, if you just wanted to pop up a metal building for like a weight room or, like a batting cage, or if you wanted to there's a few things design build works great for. It has to be a building, and that's another common misconception folks try to do design build for fields and other things. The law says it has to be a building. So I don't, in order to completely comply with the law, I know there's districts that have used design build method for other things, for sports fields and things like that. It's really not, it's not really the best. It doesn't, I think it's coloring outside the lines a little bit. I'm not going to say it's illegal, right? Because it does say, or facilities are pertinent to buildings, so you could drop, but it's coloring outside the lines. I don't think it's illegal, but I just typically don't recommend it. I don't think you're going to save money typically anyway. Job order contracts. So job order contracts, they're used in the law states, it'd be minor construction, repair, rehabilitation, or alteration when the work is of a reoccurring nature, but delivery times, types, quantities are indefinite, and the orders are based on pre-priced tasks. So I know y'all have done job order contracts where you put out an RFP, and you have folks that reply to that RFP that are on your job order list. So they have preset pricing. Usually, this is RS means, is typically the preset pricing. But I will say what gets a little confusing here.
Each job has to be attached with an RS means, correct?
That is correct. Because that's the only way to price it is through either RS means if you're getting it off a co-op, because that's how contractors bid a co-op, is when I say bid a co-op, all the stuff they submit to a co-op is going to have the RS means pricing in there. And so that's how you know that we get to use the co-op method because competitive procurement has already been done by the co-op, and that's perfectly fine. But that competitive procurement is you get to see what they're going to charge you, and through the RS means, right? And so that being said, I see job order contracts try to be used for things that they're not supposed to be used for. When you get into major construction, right, you can't RS means price building, right? And not only that, it doesn't fit with the definition of the law because it says used when work is of a reoccurring nature, or not, but delivery times, types, and quantities are indefinite. It's really great for repairs. I think the couple that we did job order contracts recently, I think are on there. Rekeying of all the campuses, right? We've got that's a perfect example of a perfect job order contract. We got a set price for every doorknob and the key pricing and all that. It's listed out there, so it's priced out through RS means. Another one I think is on y'all's agenda later tonight would be the Brabham, the generator, right? Just swapping out. That's a routine repair, easily priced. Boom. Job order contracts really should not be used to construct things. It's more fixing, remodeling, swapping out, that type of stuff is where. So you can stretch it, right? And you can stretch job orders to bigger items, as long as it's those items that can be priced, right? If you can price them out, that's fine, right? If the pricing for them has been done competitively, it's fine. So do y'all want to take a quiz, or let me just pass through the quiz because I think we're going to run out of time. So the objective: understand procurement methods and text. So construction procurement. Is competitive procurement required? Can requirements be satisfied using a co-op or interlocal agreement? Is board approval required for the contract? Time required, and backwards. So you cannot procure any professional services, meaning say procure, you can't competitively. We all know that. The Professional Services Procurement Act prohibits school districts from making architects, engineers, lawyers, thank goodness, I don't have to bid my price, I just think I do a good job or I don't, right? Based on the quality of my services, not my billable rates. That you cannot competitively procure professionals. And that was not only lawyers that lobbied for that. It's definitely the architects and engineers, and I blame them for putting that in there, okay? We just got lumped in with them, luckily, I think. Professional services, asking an architect or engineer about prices or fees before you select them, big no-no. Again, that violates Professional Services Procurement Act. You have to select them based on their qualifications. You look at the packet they submitted with all their pretty drawings and pictures and all their references and be like, I really like the way their schools look and they've got some great references. Let's go with them. And then you can negotiate with them, right? And if you don't like their fee, you can move on to the next highly ranked, the next one that was ranked based on their qualifications, but not based on the price. So competitive bidding, we talked about traditional method of procurement. You have to advertise it in the newspaper, contract awarded to lowest responsible bidder. Disadvantage, top ranked bid is over budget. District cannot negotiate for change in scope and time to reduce price. So we talk about the low bid, locking in that, we don't do that typically. So competitive seal procurement is what, competitive seal proposals is what you're typically, you're using. So your board policy CVB legal says the district shall select the offeror that submits the proposal that offers the best value for the district. This is what we're talking about, based on the selection criteria in the request for proposal and weighted value and its ranking evaluation. We're going to skip. CMAR is procured in one separate two-step. We've already kind of covered that.
Can I ask you one question about that?
Yeah, you did.
You had said you did recommend a two-step.
That's correct.
All right. Don't disagree with you on a hypothetical.
Sure.
To me, it makes sense for them to be able to bring a bunch of people in, interview them. Kelly knock it down to the 3, or her team, whoever grades it, to 3 or 4. And then who they selected down to 2, and then we're gonna get a good price, because they know they made the final cut. I would think we would be getting the best of both worlds. Does that make sense?
It does, but it's gonna take you about 2 months, right? Because
2 months is worth a couple $100,000, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, I do see the benefit, but what if the one of the lower ones that you, I mean,
there is not a wrong answer.
There's not a right way or wrong way to do that. No, I just say it's not all that common that folks do the two-step. It's just I know of only one other district that did it, and they quickly decided on their later projects that no, we're not going to do that. But I think you get the same benefit with you don't have your.
Okay, but you can have people on bid day going to try to buy a job, as we all know in this business, and then they're going to play the changeover game and all the stuff that we're all used to. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Kelly and Dr. James and her team gets to interview, let's say we got a transportation facility coming up for bid.
Uh-huh.
If she goes up to CMR, I think that's what you're doing, right? She gets to interview them, and her and the team narrow it down to the 3 they really like based off everything else but price.
Mm-hmm.
And then narrow that deal, and then the people knows they made the final cut. I would think they're gonna come in with a pretty decent price because they know they're in the final run. That's just how I'm looking at it. I don't know if that's right, wrong, or different.
I would not argue against you. I think that that's one way to do it. I'd say the reason that districts don't, because it takes several months. It's because of the length of it, A, and then B, I just don't think that the districts that have done it really saw that benefit in the price route.
Okay.
They were able, they're going to sharpen their pencils because they're going to want to get the job either way. I believe it's competitive, but I can understand completely where you're coming from, Ms. Jones. And that's absolutely a decision the board can make, right? Y'all can decide. Y'all can make the direct. We're going to do the two-step process, right? Now, not now because we've already. We've already out there, but.
Well, Kelly, Bob, and Dr. James handle all that.
Yeah.
Dr. James will ask us questions if she wants our input, but we're not back there procuring this job.
Yeah.
Okay? I was asked, I get to go and I sit in because they asked me to do it, so I'm doing it and I love it. Okay? But I don't get to grade nothing I'm doing. I'm just there watching the process. And we've learned a lot and we're getting better every time, right? I know we want to get the best value like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. That's what's required by law, the best value for the district.
That's right. So it's weighing both of them, right?
Yeah, it is. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to do that, but I think that you would need to, again, that's that communications loop to make sure that, I would put it, if you're going out, if you got another CMAR project, y'all discuss it and open and take a vote on it as to whether you want to do that one way or the other.
That's her deal. No matter which way we do it, I wanna make sure we're doing it as smartly, as the best way for all of us. That's their, I don't get paid, you know,
Yeah.
that's their job, not my job.
Yeah.
They bring it to Dr. James brings it to us, I wanna support whatever my superintendent wants to do, and that's.
Sure.
what it is.
Absolutely. So, on design build, again, there's you have to do you gotta do the two-step process. You know, and it's typically, there's hidden costs because you have to have your own engineer. So design build is usually, again, some projects okay, not usually gonna save you money in others. So job order contracting, again, minor construction of facility, that's straight out of the law. It's under your CVB legal, CVF legal, you can use a competitive civil proposal method for design, for job order contracting, or you can use a co-op for that. Co-op is a great tool. You can purchase anything off a co-op within limit, right? So,
That's what I wanted to ask you.
uh,
You had told me once before and I forgot it. Your pricing on these, what your recommendation is. I know it ain't written in stone, but like you said up to a certain dollar amount, you would like to see that. Not, you had your own opinion. What is your own opinion on
yeah.
that?
So a lot of it depends on what it is. Something that's easily priced, like buses, right? They're on a co-op. You can log on to Tips or Fiboard or any of the other and like. I want this model bus, and then the price is there. It makes it harder, and certainly for other goods, right? If you're buying chairs or books or whatever, buying it off the co-op, you have a price. It's there, you buy it. But when you get into what I consider when you got construction / goods and services, you can get them off a co-op. There's no problem with that. It's just that the bigger the job, the more cumbersome because they're going to have to price it. And I think one of the things that you and I talked about, again, the scoreboard, right? Y'all are gonna have a scoreboard repurchasing coming up. That's one of those weird ones that you could consider that goods, right? You're buying the scoreboard, the installation comes with it, right? Kind of like when you buy a dishwasher at Home Depot and they come in and part of it, installation cost is part of the price that's gonna be there on what they put on buy board, right? But it has to make sure the scoreboard you want is on buy board or on Tips. It has to be that model and it has to have the pricing listed in there. Otherwise, but I can also see that as a construction project, right? You're buying the scoreboard and then you're bidding out for, we talk like the crane and the electrical and the concrete and all that stuff. So that's one of those ones that can.
Well, it's construction related, so I thought it would be a job.
It could, is it a small project that's repeatable, something that happens over? Remember we looked about minor construction of a reoccurring nature. I mean, typically that's what the law says. Typically, but you could do it either as a CSP, bid it out like construction as a CSP, or you could get it off buy board if they have the pricing on there installed. Then yeah, you purchase it just like you purchase anything, like a good, right?
You can do it through job.
Well, if you look at the law, it says, is the scoreboard something that would be reoccurring in nature?
So I have a quick question for you. Have we been doing that correctly in our district or no?
I mean, you're asking me, I mean, you're gonna have to ask a couple more questions about what's being done.
Have we been doing that correctly in our district or no?
We're doing it correctly. We're doing it correctly.
Now,
We're doing
right. So is there a threshold? Would you recommend, say, a $6 million project to be done through job?
Through a job order contract? It's not, and I've been asked that question before, and it's not the issue with the pricing, it's the issue of the nature of it, right? Because let's say so there's some high dollar items that you're putting. Air conditioners, for instance. You want to place 10 air conditioners? Well, that, air conditioners go out, that's could probably be, it's recurring that they're going to go out every 10 years. Does that comply? Probably so. Is it a good idea? That's.
And whose responsibility is it to actually report it to Tips and make sure that it is within the cooperative agreement that we have already signed, and it's not just maybe thrown out there saying we're using a cooperative? Who is making sure on the back end that it's actually done through a cooperative?
Typically, administration does that. And that Kelly, I know Kelly goes and looks at the co-op and looks at their.
So that is administration's job,
yeah.
to report to Tips any contracts that we are using.
Well, the vendor needs to report to Tips. We pull we pull them and make sure, or Kelly does, right? Because you sent them, making sure that they have a contract with tips and that the pricing is in line with that. Whether they're reported to tips and tips gets their money, that's between tips and the contractor.
Different co-ops do it different ways. So there's a couple of different ways. Some you report, some vendors are expected to report.
Right, and so are we making sure that we are staying within our preset pricing with these cooperatives? Who is responsible for that, the board or
There's
the
not
admin?
I don't understand by preset. Oh, you mean that what they've bid in there?
Mhm.
Yes, the admin would do that when they go
So
out.
that falls on administration?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now, of course, the board has oversight to approve it, right? On every contract, the board is going to look at and approve, but that's a trust thing to make sure that's being done.
No, what I was gonna say, it is my responsibility. It will be my responsibility and my team's responsibility. All of this is my responsibility to make that. I will take the advisement of our board. Is it price, is it context because of the place or the location or whatever we're purchasing, but it will be my and my team's decision unless I do something wrong, and they need to tell me that. So, but I'm going to take responsibility for it. And Blake, I know we've had a lot of questions, and I'm afraid because we're already at 5:21.
I think I've hit the main things that I wanted to. I just cover really quick. Selection and ranking. The board typically y'all delegate the authority. Your administration makes the rankings, and y'all approve them. However, you are approving those rankings. If you don't like them at a board meeting, you can always change that, right? But you would have to re-rank them in the rubric, and it has to be an open. You're going to have to go through all those steps, and you may be here for several hours doing that. But you have that authority to change, the proposed rankings. Let's see. Contracts. Work with your attorney. That's the main thing. Right? Proactively, and main things we're doing. Working with Kelly and getting contracts out early in the procurement process. I would say that, and we're also doing a good job of now saying this is the contract.
We should have a contract on everything, right? It is Kelly and Bob, is Dr. James and her department able to go to a certain dollar amount and us write our own AIAs, and then you approve them after they're done, or what's your recommendation on that?
We're working on that, and that's your decision. I mean, I will say writing contracts is the practice of law.
Okay.
So,
I agree.
I have given Kelly some templates for some smaller job stuff that say, hey, they're foolproof. You fill in these, fill in the blanks, project, dollar amount. Everything else I've taken care of. As long as nothing's changed in there, they're good to go. For a dollar amount on types of contracts, that's a whole continuum there. I mean, obviously the higher dollar, the bigger risk, and I have malpractice insurance. If I screw it up, you got somebody to look at. That's,
That's okay.
yeah. And asking folks to practice, some basic contracts, obviously a lot of districts just have templates for some things they do over and over again, which is fine. Needs to be updated. I send those templates to school districts. I update a few templates every year. I send, say, hey, use these, and they just use them the rest of the year, and every year I'll update them. But those are kind of on routine procurement type stuff. When you get into construction, nothing's ever routine. So that's my hesitation to say dollar amount, because it's more than just dollars. It's what you're doing, what the risk is. It's more than just a set dollar amount. So I don't want to really weigh in on that. Plus, it's a self-interest for me to say, I need to do every one of your contracts, right? But I hope y'all know me enough. You've worked with me long enough. I'm not here to nickel and dime you. If I can give you templates, it's something I'm comfortable doing, I will absolutely do that. And Kelly, with our retainer program, I no charge numerous calls from your administration. If it's the first call about any matter, I no charge it. And so I try to do y'all a service that way, and not here to get rich off Willis ISD, I promise. May seem like it sometimes, but I promise you I'm not.
Well, we need to have one on everything, so.
Yeah.
Online,
So we have change orders that you just talked about, change orders. I always love this picture because the boat was the original contract is like the tiny little dinghy, and the yacht is change order, right? That's how oftentimes you see these projects end up, right? There's the original contract, and then there's a change order.
You get $600,000 change orders at a time.
Yeah, so, get change orders in writing. The board, if those change orders are within the procurement delegation, which is 50,000 for Dr. James, she can make those change orders. She has the authority to. But I put in my contracts that use you guys that every change order needs to go before the board. Y'all need to look at those. Y'all need to approve them. Payment performance bonds are always required, 100%, no matter what. It can never be waived. Don't do it. Don't ever do it on any project over $100,000. You need a performance bond. Anything over $25,000, you need payment bond. It's not worth it. I promise you to not require that, because I'm defending a lawsuit right now for another district that snuck behind my back, and they're good folks. I work with them, but they did their own thing behind, and then they're like, oh no, their GC didn't pay a sub. The project's over. Now the sub's suing the school district. And the GC is now nowhere to be found. So they're getting sued. Had they had payment performance bonds, they would have been protected. They're not. So just don't always require that. Consider insurance. We always put insurance. I think that's another thing we're talking about today is that, different insurance rates. There's not a set amount that you're going to require for every project. If you got a little $10,000 mowing thing, well, you probably don't need $5 million worth of insurance out of that company. So it's adjustable. You need to look at it, but make sure that the insurance is proper for each of those jobs. Dispute resolution, I'm just saying we will mediate. We put in our contracts, we'll mediate. We never go to arbitration. It's terrible. I've marked that out of every contract because if we can mediate, it's not binding, it's fine. But if somebody messes over the district, we're going to be in our local hometown court here by an elected judge, right? Who probably y'all know, we're in the same political circles. We got a much better chance, of prevailing in that type of suit than we do with an arbitration company based out of Dallas who's made up of a bunch of general contractors. So we don't do arbitration ever. I think that is it. So the rest of it, the project closeout, substantial completion, and warranty period, we have those in all your contract. You make sure that they close them out. We have a warranty period, plus school districts have 10 years, what's called a statute of repose. So if you have construction defects, you have up to 10 years to go after the contractor for defects. Any other questions? I think we'll probably end it there because we're out of time. But man, I almost got through the whole thing. That was, and this is, the finger pointing when there is construction. And luckily y'all have not did that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Carson.
I think we're in a really good spot as far as our construction goes here. In the last couple of years, we've changed the whole game, put our construction on its head, and we have procurement now as well. We were able to get, like in the construction subcommittee, and we appointed Chad as our construction liaison. So we have two people on our board who have vast construction experience.
Sure.
We're fortunate in that aspect to have them on board to advise us or whatever. But I'm really proud of the way that we handle things and stuff as well. Something that really sticks out to me is we put all of our contracts and our bids online now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any other district in Montgomery County, any other school district doing that yet. I've seen some
Yeah,
more,
you don't have to put.
no, we don't have to.
Yeah, putting your bids online, I think that's great, and that's definitely a smart way to do. Putting the contracts online, maybe not. I just say that because it's usually I drafted it, and so somebody's stealing my work. So my competitors are like pulling those down. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use what Blake put together. He's smart. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, one thing at the end of the job, what you didn't cover is, we're gonna get the jobs audited at the end, right?
Yes, for a CMAR, that's correct. You have to, those jobs you have to audit. Now, if you do a CSP with a hard bid number, no, you don't audit that because you pay them what it is, right? But the CMAR, yes, you need to get those audited.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to.
Yeah, cleans up the mess, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
We just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. It is 5:30 p.m.
Appreciate your time, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me.
The 16th, 2025 board meeting to order. It is 5:42. There is a quorum present. Notice of this meeting has been posted in a time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Sir Cliff Williams.
Present.
Scott Carson.
Present.
Kyle Hickmeyer.
Present.
Paulette Trailer.
Present.
Ms. Nikki Lagway.
Present.
My name is Chad Jones. Our missing member is Mr. Charles Perry.
This time, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. James for our invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Thank you so much, President Kyle Hagemeyer. At this time, we're going to have Bravo Middle School and Rourke Education, Early Education Center come up. If we'll please stand up.
Pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
I'd like to introduce this young man. This is Eli Saavedra. He's a sixth grader at Brabham Middle School.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. James, board members, and everyone here tonight. My name is Felix Ramirez III. I'm an 8th grade student at Brabham Middle School. Thank you for allowing me to be here. May you all please bow your heads as I lead everyone in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude for this opportunity to gather as a community. We thank you for the dedication and commitment of everyone present, working towards the betterment of our school and the lives of our students. We seek your wisdom and guidance in our discussions and decisions today. Grant us the ability to listen with open hearts, to speak with kindness and understanding, and to work collaboratively in a spirit of unity. May our actions reflect your love and mercy as we strive for solutions that benefit all. Bless our leaders with clarity and insight, our educators with passion and patience, and our students with curiosity and courage. May our school be a place where all feel valued and empowered to reach their fullest potential. We place this meeting in your hands, trusting in your infinite wisdom and love. Guide us, protect us, and inspire us to serve with compassion and integrity. In your holy name, we pray. Amen.
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 At this time, I'd like to call Dr. Chastity Simon, the Dean of Instruction at Brabham Middle School, to introduce the BMS Student of the Month.
Brabham Middle School Student of the Month is Miss Brinley Morris. Brinley? Brinley is a 7th grader at Brabham Middle School. Beautiful. I would like to take a moment to share with you a few of the comments that Brinley's teachers have shared about her. Brinley is a bright, hardworking student that always comes in with an awesome attitude. She is an amazing student athlete. In science class, she has maintained an A+ average and has actively participated in cheer, basketball, track, and soccer. She is the true definition of a leader, not just academically, but also athletically. There are not enough good things to say about this young lady. Truly, she is an all-around great student. Not only a student athlete, but one who shines in every sport that she's been in, and she's an example of what it means to be a fighting Bobcat. Brinley is truly a student who always tries her best. She's respectful, and she has a kind heart and a positive attitude. Brinley, as an administrator at Brabham Middle School, congratulations from your Brabham administrators, teachers, and staff. Congratulations on being recognized as Brabham Middle School Student of the Month.
Good evening, Dr. James, board members, Ms. Velosa. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. And I did not bring the show on the road this year, but I did bring a very special person. So I'd like to introduce you to our ROAR, Early Education Center, Student of the Month. Anyway, his name is Jace McFadden. And this is his teacher, Ms. Bernal, and she has written lots of great things about him. He exemplifies great character at ROAR. He is responsible by helping his classmates in modeling good choices. He is always safe, which means his good choices at school help him to keep himself and others safe. He is very respectful, which means he always shows respect to teachers and classmates, and he always strives to be the best that he can be in everything he does. He also motivates his classmates to be the best they can be too, to achieve their goals. So it is that reason that we have chosen Jace McFadden as our ROAR Early Education Center Student of the Month.
Big smile. Oh, is this? He is ready. All right. Well, good evening, board, Dr. James and Ms. Delosa. I'm excited to call up this month's Paws of Pride honorees, Lindsay Moore, Yolanda Nephew, and Dakota Epple. As you know, our Paws of Pride recognition highlights team members who show what it means to be passionate, responsive, innovative, dynamic, and empathetic. These 3 Wildcats were chosen because they go above and beyond in those areas. Lindsay Moore is known for making learning fun, clear, and meaningful. She explains tough concepts with patience, and her love for teaching shines through. Lindsay doesn't just teach math. She builds confidence and helps her students believe in themselves. Yolanda Nephew creates a classroom where students feel safe, seen, and supported. She takes the time to understand each child's needs and adapts her teaching to help them succeed. Her calm, caring presence makes a lasting impact on students and families alike. Dakota Epple is the kind of teammate everyone wants. She's always ready to step in, offer support, and bring fresh ideas. Her positive attitude and willingness to help make a difference every single day for students and staff makes a huge impact on her campus. Congratulations to all 3 of our honorees, and thank you for your incredible work that you do for Willis ISD. At this time, I would like to call up anyone from their families or their campus families who would like to be in the photo. Big smiles. Congratulations.
Okay, good evening, Board, Dr. James and Ms. DeLosa. Tonight for Cats on Patrol, I have the exciting privilege of highlighting our law enforcement program at CTE. Mr. Kennedy has nominated one of his students, Kaya Thomas, who currently is in the practicum section of the Willis ISD Law and Public Service Academy, and has been instrumental in coordinating and scheduling campus safety patrols, as well as other duties relevant to her patrol division. She is the patrol division commander, and she manages roles outside for volunteer opportunities of the cadets, and that include community service and recruiting. She schedules weekly campus safety patrols in which she assigns cadets to patrol the parking lot and exterior door checks of the main building, CTE, and the agricultural building. She has passed her certification exam through DPS as a level 2 security officer and applies these skills and policies to her role managing safety patrols. She's currently a senior and intends to enter the U.S. Air Force as a security forces specialist. Congratulations.
All right, we will now welcome to the podium Director of Athletics, Trent Miller, to kick off our athletics recognitions.
Good evening, Dr. James, Board, Ms. DeLosa, Wildcat family. What an honor it is to be up here tonight again to recognize some of the special athletes we have in our programs. Tonight we're going to be recognizing athletes from wrestling, powerlifting, and boys and girls soccer. All of their sports have finally finished up, and we have some amazing awards to promote tonight. Also give a special shout out, kind of premature, to our baseball and softball teams who are both headed to the playoffs this year here in a couple of weeks. It's truly an exciting time to be a Wildcat. On behalf of our programs tonight, I want to extend a sincere thank you not only to Dr. James and the board, everybody in this room, to Mr. King, our administrative staff, our police department, custodial staff, maintenance staff. It truly takes everybody to keep the machine going the way it's been going. So thank you for that. I had the honor tonight to start the celebration with our wrestling team. Wrestling was tremendous this year. We finished with 7 regional qualifiers and 1 state qualifier. So a lot to build on in the future in that wrestling program. We're looking forward to the direction that it's going, and hopefully we'll double these numbers or triple these numbers next year with our wrestling team. Up first, regional qualifier, Tucker Bond. Regional qualifier, Skylar Carney. Regional qualifier, Anna Ramirez. Regional qualifier, Tatiana Gonzalez. Regional qualifier, Melissa Ramirez. Regional qualifier, Melody Eakin. And regional qualifier and state qualifier, David Ramirez. Let's give these wrestlers a round of applause.
Right. Good evening, Board, Dr. James, and Mr. Losa. How are y'all doing tonight? I have the privilege of introducing some power lifters. Obviously, these guys and gals did a phenomenal job again yet this year. State qualifiers, regional qualifiers, just another phenomenal year. We're extremely proud of them. I will introduce the boys, and then Coach Anthony will introduce the girls. First up, Jay Reyes, regional and state qualifier. Braden Wiley, regional qualifier. Christian Hall, regional qualifier and state qualifier. Logan Hilton, regional and state qualifier. Bryce Walton, regional and state qualifier. We also had a couple of other kids who had prior engagement. Jonathan Miller, regional and state qualifier. Austin Hernandez, regional and state qualifier. Luis Salceda, regional qualifier, and Jacaden Thompson, regional qualifier.
All right, I'm going to introduce our girls. Regional qualifier, Carly DeRoe. Regional qualifier, Berkeley Harris. Regional qualifier, Madison Morgan. Regional and state qualifier, Tatum Automall. Regional qualifier, Taylor Siegfried. Regional qualifier, Abby Koenig. Regional qualifier, Delilah Tyson. Regional qualifier, Hannah Hudson. Regional qualifier, Sarah Mayo. Regional qualifier, Morgan Horner. Regional qualifier, Deja Denson. Regional qualifier, Brittany Vaughn. And we had one that couldn't make it tonight, regional qualifier, Anaya Filio.
I want shortest in the front, taller in the back. I'm gonna try to get centered with the Texas. All right, big smiles. Show your certificate. Congratulations.
Yes, you can go ahead and start.
All right, good evening. First of all, thank y'all for having us. Thank you, board. Thank you, Dr. James. Thank you, Coach Miller, and everybody else that's here. These guys worked their tails off this season, and they're pillars to this program. All right. So first off, we have Cash Hader, first team All District. Next, we have Adrian Diaz, second team All District. Next, we have Ernesto Rodriguez, honorable mention. And we have Diego Castillo, honorable mention. Agustin Cortez Jr., honorable mention. Alexander Hernandez, academic All District. Elijah Small, academic All District. And then Carson Embry was academic All District. He wasn't able to make it tonight.
Good evening, Board, Dr. James, and Ms. Tolosa. Thank you for recognizing our soccer athletes this evening. The team earned 6th place in district this season. The girls worked so hard between injuries, and the flu took all of our girls out for one game one day. We couldn't be more proud of all the things they accomplished. I will announce the athletes first, and then we will clap for the team. Chelsea Mentado Perez, first team All-District and Academic All-District. Summer Clark, first team All-District. Melena Monaretto, first team All-District. Nadia Rice, second team All-District and Academic All-District. And Chloe Marin, honorable mention and Academic All-District.
All right, big smiles, show off your certificates. Congratulations. All right, so we're just gonna take a moment to allow any parents who don't wish to stay for the rest of the board meeting. Y'all can make your way out the doors over there. And then we're gonna call up Mr. Noah Hollander and Dr. Ivan Velasco.
Good evening, Board President Mr. Hagemeyer, members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. James, Ms. DeLosa. This evening, we take a moment to recognize a group of dedicated leaders whose contributions are essential to the success of our schools, our assistant principals. Though often behind the scenes, assistant principals are the steady force ensuring our campuses run smoothly each day. They are early risers and late stayers. They're problem solvers, the encouragers, the protectors of school culture. They manage discipline with wisdom, support instruction with heart, and respond to challenges with calm and grace. They don't seek the spotlight, but their impact is undeniable. And tonight, we want to say thank you for your leadership, your adaptability, and your steadfast commitment to your campuses and our district. Please know your efforts are seen, your presence is valued, and your influence is lasting. At this time, we would like to call each of you forward to receive a small token of appreciation and to recognize you for the vital role you play in the life of Willis ISD. Thank you for all you do.
All right, we will introduce each one of you. We will hold our applause and cheering till we have them all up front. So administrators, when you hear your name, just come across and start a line right on this side, okay? All right, first off, we have Isis Frederick from Roark Early Education Center. Paula Snow, A.R. Turner Elementary. Alicia Clark, C.C. Hardy Elementary. Dakota Epple, Hardy Elementary. Dana Upton, Cannon Elementary. Micah Surface, Metter Elementary. Adriana Velasco, Lagway Elementary. Not with us tonight is Alexandra Kazmierczak. She couldn't be with us. Danielle Honeycutt, Brabham Middle School. Craig Wheaton, Brabham Middle School. Chastity Simon, Dean of Instruction, Brabham Middle School. Ashley Seuss, Lynn Lucas Middle School. Tomel Walton, Lynn Lucas Middle School. Not with us tonight, James Wilcox, Lynn Lucas Middle School. Caitlin Owens, Dean of Instruction, Lynn Lucas Middle School. Shaquille Breed, Willis High School. Tim Douglas, Willis High School. Rochelle Ellisor, Willis High School. Katie Kelly, Willis High School. Tanis Price, Willis High School. Jenny Stone, Willis High School. Not with us, Carrie Gomans, Associate Principal, Willis High School. And last but not least, Jamal Honeycutt, Associate Principal, Willis High School. And these are our 24-25 Assistant Principals, Associates, and Deans.
All right, so now I would like to welcome Dr. Larry Lewis to the podium.
Student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. Student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. President Hagemeyer, Board, Superintendent Dr. James, Mr. Loso, to this outstanding staff and community, I'm Dr. Larry Lewis, and I just happen to be and grateful to be the Lone Star Governance Coach for Willis ISD. In this year, Willis ISD became a member of the exemplar cohort for Lone Star Governance for the Texas Education Agency, and it was a rigorous process. I think we had like 30-some school districts to apply, and I think we awarded between 5 and 6 school districts. So big ups to Willis ISD. A requirement for being a exemplar cohort member is that you have to do 2 days, 16 hours of Lone Star Governance training initially. And this school board did that training along with the superintendent on February 27th and May 4th. And a serious commitment because they did it from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And when you talk about making a commitment, that is a big time commitment. And so I can just give you an overview of those 2 days. It was very rigorous and intense. Would you all agree?
Oh, I agree.
And for that, I am here tonight on behalf of the Texas Education Agency to present Willis ISD their Lone Star Governance certificates. All right. So, when I call your name, if you would come down, please, Dr. James, if you would come. Dr. James doesn't get a certificate, I'm sorry. She's not a board member, but she has to participate. So, the first certificate goes to the school district. It says to Lone Star Governance Board Certificate, March 25th through March 2025 through March 2027. So you don't have to go through the Lone Star Governance update again until March 2027. President Hagemeyer, would you come down, please, and receive this? And while he's coming, I am also going to present to President Hagemeyer and all other board members their individual Lone Star Governance certificate, where they would get 16 CPE hours, credit hours, for March 2025. 10 hours for the framework training, 3 hours for the team of 8 training, and 3 hours for evaluating, improving student outcomes training. So for a total of 16 hours. Congratulations. Next, we're going to ask Ms. Paulette Traylor to come down, please. Let's give her a big hand. And following Ms. Traylor, Mr. Chad Jones. And Scott Carson, you can be on your way.
Thank you very much. You bet.
Nikita Lagway. Mr. Perry is not here, and Cliff Williams.
Oh, yes. I'm over here,
All right, let's give them all a big hand, please.
All right, big smile, show off those certificates. Congratulations.
Dr. James did say she's going to get us a Whataburger cooler later on too.
So, good evening. I'm adding myself to the agenda with the approval of Dr. James. So, Mr. President, Dr. James, board members, Ms. Delosa, as you know, with your approval, this is our first year to have a dedicated art teacher on every elementary campus, as well, of course, as our secondary art program, which is very popular for students. And so, to celebrate that growth and resources, we wanted to have a project, an art project this year that really kind of encompassed that theme. And so back in September, we gave each of the art departments a 2x2 sheet of flat masonite. And on that masonite, there were some lines, some were straight, some were wavy. And the only two directives given to each of the programs was you have to maintain the contrast of the lines, and you need to fill in that 2x2 square with whatever your art department feels is the best way to express their department on that 2x2. And so then we collected those things and we put them back together. And as you'll see here in just a moment, you'll see something near and dear to all of our hearts. But what you'll also see is the individual artistic expression of each of those departments. If art reflects life, which is the goal of all artists, this is the perfect metaphor for what we're doing in Willis ISD. We're starting with a plan. We're celebrating the contributions of all of our students and programs. We're bringing those things together. We're celebrating success and we're setting standards. And that's really what that whole theme is about. And so, without further ado, the name of this piece is aptly entitled One Team, One Purpose. So if I could get my Vanna Whites over there to pull those down and watch out for the pins. Give it a pull. And we have One Team, One Purpose. And just to finalize on this note, I just want to personally really thank everyone in this room and in front of me for your continued support of fine arts in Willis ISD. Thank you so much.
All right, so that concludes our recognitions for the evening.
The board will hear public comments from the audience only during the public comment portion of the meeting. The public comment portion of the meeting will be no longer than 30 minutes total. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board. Groups of 5 or more who wish to express the same viewpoint on an issue must appoint a representative to speak to the group and will have 3 minutes to present unless the topic is an item on the board agenda. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, and other community members by name. I will determine whether the speaker has attempted to solve this matter administratively through resolution channels established by policy. If not, the speaker will be referred to the appropriate policy to seek resolution. Disruption of this meeting will not be tolerated at any time, and per board policy, the board will not respond during public comments. This evening, we have one speaker who has signed up, Ms. Diane Hibner.
Tonight, I will concentrate on the topic of garbage in, garbage out. This theme is specific inference to position number 5. For several years, a group of concerned taxpayers have been pursuing fraud and corruption allegations which occurred during the tenure of our past superintendent and the past president of the school board, who is currently position number 5 trustee. Many hours of research and gathering of documentation has led us to the following. We have thought about contacting Elon, but we know that he is too busy frying fish in the big pond of Washington, D.C. Therefore, we decided to pursue the allegations of fraud and corruption at the state and local levels. Let's get the Texas Rangers and Montgomery County law enforcement officials involved. Hey, let's even go a step further. Why not include the FBI of our findings? Well, guess what? We have all these batters stepping up to the plate. We are not kidding, we are serious. The taxpayers of WISD need to have these individuals who were involved in fraud and corruption held accountable for their unlawful actions. The garbage got in, we are getting the garbage out. In and out. Thank you.
Standing informational and ad hoc reports and items. Item A, student enrollment and attendance.
All right, good evening, members of the school board, Dr. James and Ms. DeLosa. To the right screen. All right, as of April 14th, 2025, our district enrollment was 9,350 students. You can see that is an increase of over 341 over this date last year. That equated out to 182 students at the secondary level. And then you can see the elementaries there, 159 more students across our elementaries. And then you can also see the campus and district attendance percentages for the month of March. We actually had a great month across the entire district. This is a comparison on the screen from March of 2024 to March of 2025. 5 of our campuses improved their overall attendance from one year to the next. But even more impressive is that 10 of our campuses improved their attendance rate from February to March of this year. So that was a great job by campuses all across the district. So like I said, 10 campuses improved, but the winner this month of the Momentum Maker attendance work with an increase of 2.3% from February to March of 2025 was Kennan Elementary School. Congratulations, Ms. Paulson.
Item B, financial reports, bill payments, and bonds numbers.
Yes, sir. Good evening, board. Dr. James, Ms. DeLosa. As we take a quick look at our revenues and expenditures through the end of March, the district has collected $66.8 million in revenues, while totaling $53.4 million in expenditures. As you can see, we've collected 95% of our local revenue at this point, with the remaining balance primarily being delinquent taxes. We also have Leslie Scotty with Purdue Brandon here tonight to give a report on delinquent taxes here in a few minutes. For total revenues, we are 75% collected, with the majority of the remaining being state aid, which we'll see additional payments of this summer, with the final settlement payment being made in September. For expenditures, we had normal activity in the month of March, with expenditures being slightly less, with the district being off for the week for spring break. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
C, investment report.
Yes, sir. In your board report is the complete quarterly investment report for the second quarter of the district's fiscal year. If we take a look at interest rates of the district's investment pools, we have seen a slight decrease of 0.54% compared to the first quarter. Based on market trends, we anticipate this trend to continue. However, this district did still realize an average of 4.54 annual percentage yield for the second quarter. If we take a look at the actual earnings, the district has earned almost $5.7 million in interest through the end of March. The majority of our cash on hand is in relation to the construction or bond funds, which realized $3.65 million in interest. For our general funds, we have earned $1.7 million through the month of March, and I am projecting that us to end our fiscal year at the end of August around $2.9 to $3 million in interest. I will continue to monitor interest rates as we look at building our budget for the 25-26 school year. As I do anticipate the rates continue to drop, we will see a decrease in our interest earnings for next year, so we're planning for that. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Item D, delinquent tax report.
Yes, sir. Up next, as promised, is our delinquent tax report, and I will pass it off to Ms. Scotty at Purdue Brandon.
Thank you, Gary, appreciate it.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. James and Ms. DeLosa. Thank you so much for having me here this evening. I brought a special guest with me, new associate attorney with my office, Cooper Boatner. He's going to be helping me out with doing some of the heavy lifting for the district. So he's going to be attending dockets with me, and we no longer go to tax sales since those are now online, but also participating in collecting accounts and visiting. We're about to do a campaign on personal property that was turned over to us on April 1st. So we will identify businesses that haven't paid, try to contact them on the phone, and if that doesn't work, he and I will go visit them and take them a tax statement. So he's about to be getting a crash course. I think this is his 5th week on the job, so he's very happy to be here. So
Pleasure to be here.
thank you so much for having us this evening. Take note that these are the delinquent taxes only, and this report only goes through 2023, although I just mentioned we just started doing early turnover for the personal property for 2024 on April 1, but note as we go through, they're not included in this report since they were just turned over at the beginning of the month. So as we go through, take note that these are the delinquents, and these are the accounts that have been turned over to us through 2023, and we are actively trying to collect on them, and some are in litigation. And this gives us a snapshot of the entire delinquent roll and where all of the delinquent counts all years are by status. So you'll notice the largest portion is the action pending portion. Many of these are going to be your 2023 delinquencies. We're still trying to work with the taxpayer, or we're doing title research. We're trying to ascertain if there's a lien holder so we can contact that lien holder. Some of these are even in informal payment agreements where we've made an agreement with the taxpayer and we're allowing them to pay the taxes in monthly installments. Next largest section is the deferral section at 31%. These are the taxpayers that are 65 or older who've elected to defer payment of their taxes on their residence homestead. They may only do the deferment on their residence homestead property only. They must file for that designation with the county appraisal district. So first they have to get the exemptions, the homestead and the over 65 or disability, and then they have to file an affidavit for the deferment. So they have to do those steps in order to get that deferment, but once it is in place, we cannot make calls or otherwise try to collect the account. We do not file litigation if there's a deferment. If a taxpayer gets a deferment after litigation is filed, we generally have the court dismiss those cases. Suit litigation section is at 15%, is the next largest section. So this is everything in the suit litigation process, from suit just filed to ready for the next tax sale. And in fact, some of the properties we sold at the April 1 tax sale were still in this section when this report was run. Next section is bad address at 9%. These are just simply taxpayers where the mail is being returned. We don't have a good address on the account. That account comes from the county appraisal district. So when we do get in touch with these taxpayers, we let them know that the mail's coming back, they're not getting their tax bills, they need to contact the county appraisal district and update their address so that they can receive their bills. Then I have the dollar range chart, so basically just helps me direct my staff and maximize my efforts for the district. You'll notice the largest percentage of accounts at 24% is in the $1,000 to $2,500 range. And I do like you to note the majority of the $10,000 and up dollar range is at 22% is either deferred or in litigation, with 2 accounts being the exception, which we think do not exist, and we're working with the appraisal district to get those taken care of. So all of the accounts in that range are either in the litigation process or they have that over 65 tax deferment. After that, I have the tax year chart. You'll see the largest section is the 2023 tax year, and after that, the percentages fall off. And then we have our historical collection data for tax years 2018 through 2023. You'll see we're getting up in the 90 percentiles for some of those older tax years. And this data is through the end of March when we got updates from the county tax office. We had our last tax sale April 1st, which I mentioned. We're going to have our next tax sale for the district on July 1. Those are now online. If you are interested in tax sales, you can sign up on our website for email notifications. Our website will list when they are posted. It also gives directions to prospective bidders how they can register for that online tax sale. We continue going to the 284th District Court monthly. The 284th basically acts as a tax court, and all tax cases filed in Montgomery County are funneled through the 284th District Court, and we have our monthly docket with them so that we can keep the cases moving along. Are there any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Absolutely.
Item E, 2025-2026 ESA grant application.
Good evening, Board, Dr. James and Ms. DeLosa. I'm here tonight to open the 20-day public comment period for the 25-26 federal grant applications. The primary objective of the grants are to do the following: increase academic achievement. We do this by programs such as summer school, GT Tool Out, and we fund our librarians this way. We support teachers and leaders. This is how we pay for our instructional coaches and professional development, and then supplemental programs that are research-based, such as IXL, Newslia, and CurryPod. I just wanted to highlight for you today, this is our state and federal program funds as it stands tonight. As you look in the purple, that is funding that I've brought in since I came to the district. The white are our entitlements that the district decides to participate in, whether they're federal or state, and they all come in with very specific compliance measures that we are always constantly having to make sure that we are following all of the dotting all of our I's and crossing all of our T's. So that's just kind of an overview of the money that comes in. This isn't just money that comes in, they all have requirements for it, so I don't want anyone to be like, they all have very specific things this money can be spent on. So that's just something to note. Okay. Here are the federal grant applications that Willis ISD intends to participate in for the 25-26 school year. I'm going to briefly overview them. You can also go to the federal programs spot on our website if you would like to read more about them, and it's in English and in Spanish. So, the Every Student Succeeds Act, you hear it either as ESSA, Every Student Succeeds, No Child Left Behind, or Title. They all mean the same thing. It's this big umbrella. Title I is specific for our it's for our low-income students. You have to be 40% or higher to be considered a school-wide Title I program. So your low ECO DIS, which is your child nutrition, filling out those free and reduced lunch forms, you have to be 40% or higher. You can enter in a targeted program if you are below 40%, but you have to be very specific on spending that funding with the specific students. So school-wide programs, we're able to serve more students, so you have to meet that 40% or higher threshold. Title II focuses specifically on growing our teachers and our leaders. We do this in professional development. Mainly we do it for professional development. This year we're focusing on those high quality instructional materials that you have approved and making sure that we're really implementing those well in the classroom. Title III is based on our English learners. And then Title IV is based off of funding a well-rounded education, making sure our students are safe and healthy, and making sure we're using technology effectively in the classroom. One of the other things to note with ESSA is that private nonprofit schools that are in our district are also entitled to this funding. So if they would like to participate under our district, they have to go through a process with us. So we get a specific entitlement, and if they decide to participate, we do share funds with them. So we have 2 private nonprofits that will be participating in our title application for this year. Then we go into Perkins. This is our CTE grant. It's very specific on funding CTE education. Then we have the Special Ed Consolidated Grant, or IDEA B. Under this, we have the IDEA B Formula Grant. This is for special education services for students aged 3 through 21. And then we have the IDEA Preschool. This is specifically for kids that are special education students for ages 3 through 5. And then we have the state supplemental visually impaired funds. And then the last one that is a federal grant that we will be participating in this year is under LASSO, and it's the Instructional Leadership and Strong Foundations Implementation. We are still awaiting our award on that. So, if the public has any comments during this 20-day period, they are able to call my office or send an email to be included on our grant application. This is if they have comments on whether they agree with how we're applying for grants. It's mainly just for them to have their say on if they want us to apply for specific grants or not. We take them all into consideration and we submit them to the federal government with our application. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So, are there any security-related bond grant programs that we're currently applying for?
Security?
Yes.
When it comes to, are you kind of specific?
I was just going back to, I think about the ballistic film stuff that we got via grant. So I was just curious if there was any other security grants out there, more specifically, like the metal detectors or something like that at the schools. Is there grants out there for that type of equipment?
For metal detectors specifically, I have not seen anything like that. We have 3 still safety grants that are open. They're very specific on what those can be used for. Really, we're still looking at the infrastructure that's required under the Chapter 61. Metal detectors wasn't included in Chapter 61. And then some of the grants you can apply for require a match. And I try to avoid those because they're high matches when it comes to safety, where we have to put up 75% or 50%, and there's a lot more regulations with those. And they're more for that mental health component. We've been looking and kind of trying to see what fits best, what our needs are. But the safety grants we currently have are more for infrastructure.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. I think you and your department, y'all do a great job. So we appreciate y'all and everything y'all do for us. It means a lot. Thank you.
I got a quick question. You said we're gonna have 2 nonprofits.
Yes.
Did you tell me, are you allowed to know that?
Yeah, they would be a part of the public application. So Covenant Christian School and Lifestyle Christian Academy, they have expressed interest to participate in Title II and Title IV. So we will get our allotment, and then what I'll have to do is divide it based off of those students. So we don't get any more funding. We just share the funding that we get as the district. So they will get a portion of the funding that is allocated to Willis ISD, because under the Every Student Succeeds Act, they mean every student. So it's also those that are in private education.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Item F, EB and ESL program overview.
Good evening, school board members, Dr. James and Ms. DeLosa. My name is Erica Del Rio, and I am honored to stand before you this evening as the proud coordinator of our bilingual ESL department. It is my privilege to speak with you about the important work our department does. It is my privilege to speak to you about the important work our department does, as well as our vision for the future of the bilingual ESL programs. We play a vital role in supporting our diverse student population, helping them develop language skills while celebrating and preserving their cultural heritage. Our goal is to foster an inclusive environment where students not only acquire English proficiency, but also maintain and grow their native language, an essential component of both academic success and personal development. We'll begin with our emergent bilingual population. Over the past 3 years, our district has experienced significant growth in the number of students enrolled in bilingual and ESL programs in grades pre-K through 12. Since the 2022-2023 school year, enrollment has increased by 129 students. This growth reflects the increasing diversity of our student population and highlights the expanding need for language support across the district. Here we have the process of serving emergent bilingual students. In Texas, the process for identifying bilingual and ESL students is governed by both federal and state laws. With Texas Education Code and the Texas Administrative Code laying out specific requirements. Texas Education Code, also known as Chapter 29, Bilingual Education and Special Language Programs, mandates identification, assessment, and placement of English learners in bilingual or ESL programs. Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 89, details procedures for identifying and serving English learners. In Willis ISD, we have 3 campuses that offer bilingual education. That includes, they include Hardy Elementary, Cannon Elementary, and Roark Early Childhood Center. Willis ISD implements the one-way dual language immersion DLI program, Language of Instruction, pre-K through 5. In a one-way language immersion program, instruction is delivered in both English and the partner language, which in this case is Spanish, to students who are identified as English learners. The goal is bilingualism, biliteracy, and high academic achievement and cross-cultural competence. The general language allocation is the following. Pre-K and kinder is 80% partner language, which is Spanish, 20% English instruction. Focus is on building strong literacy and academic foundation in the partner language, while slowly introducing the English. First grade typically transitions to 70% partner language and 30% English instruction. In second grade, it shifts from 60% partner language to 40% in English. And finally, 3rd through 5th grade, it settles at a 50-50 balance between the partner language Spanish and English instruction. Willis ISD currently employs 33 bilingual teachers as follows. 14 teachers at Cannon Elementary, 15 at Hardy Elementary, and 4 bilingual teachers at Roark. Due to the severe shortage of bilingual certified teachers in Texas, 14 of the 33 bilingual teachers are fully certified. The other 19 teachers have received support and training from the district in order to prepare them to pass their certification exams. Okay, I will continue with the ESL program. Willis ISD implements the ESL pullout program in grades pre-K through 12. TEA defines an English as a second language pullout program model as a program that serves students identified as English learners by providing English language arts instruction, while the student remains in a mainstream instructional arrangement in the remaining content areas. The ESL certified teacher provides instruction in English through second language acquisition, methods to teach the required ESL, Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, which is also known as a TEKS. That is per chapter 89. Moving on to professional development. Since my arrival in October, we have successfully offered a series of professional development training sessions for our bilingual ESL teachers and paraprofessionals. Each session has seen strong participation and positive feedback, reflecting both the relevance of the content and the commitment of our educators to continue the growth. In February, we attended the Texas TESOL 4 Regional Conference in Houston, where expert educators shared effective, culturally responsive strategies for supporting emergent bilinguals. Key takeaways now being implemented on campuses include enhancing ECRs with rigorous instruction, using structured conversations and visuals, and teaching vocabulary explicitly. This summer, we'll continue our learning at the Title III Symposium in San Antonio and through targeted training on new curriculum resources, including Savaz, Spanish, and Benchmark Reading Phonics in Spanish, which is also known as Taller de Fonética. These opportunities will help ensure teachers are well equipped to meet the language development needs of our students. Community involvement. I had the pleasure of attending one of Rourke's family engagement parent information sessions in December. My focus during the event was to empower our bilingual parents with practical strategies they can use at home to support their children's learning. Specifically, we explored the 4 E's framework, which include experiences, expressions, explanations, and extras. For each category, we discussed a variety of engaging, easy-to-implement activities designed to reinforce language development and extended learning beyond the classroom. As you can see also, we have some future family engagement night, one coming up next Thursday, and that is, our focus then will be bilingual summer school here at our administration building, followed by a bilingual night over at Willis High School. To address the growing shortage of certified bilingual teachers in our district, we are actively expanding recruitment efforts and advocating for increased support. As our district grows, the need for educators who are not only fluent in Spanish, but also certified to deliver high-quality instruction in Spanish is becoming more urgent. In addition to participating in our district job fair, we've broadened our outreach by attending external recruitment events, including the Region 4 Teacher Job Fair that took place in Tomball ISD, and the Education Expo at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. While candidate turnout was limited, we connected with several individuals close to certification and have followed up to encourage their interest in joining our team. Thank you for your time and your continued support. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you commented that our ESL program is a pull-out program 5 through 12. Do we have an ESL teacher that pulls those students out in 5th grade on our campuses?
Well, when they say pull-out, that's kind of it's explained as a pull-out being that there's The only ESL certified teacher is the language arts teacher, not the math, the social studies, or the science teacher, which is okay by TA. We're in compliance when it comes to that, but that's what they
consider
want.
that a pull-out program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then would you consider our bilingual program a late exit program?
Yes, ma'am. It is a late exit program. They exit during 5th grade. Yes, ma'am.
And why a late exit? Because, I mean, when we look at math scores and we look at our bilingual children, in 6th and 7th grade, they're still, I mean, we're taking a 5th grader, moving them to the middle school that they had 50-50 instruction.
Yes.
We take them to the middle school and it's not there.
Yes.
Why are we not leaning more towards an earlier exit program? Because after they've been in our middle schools, in 6th grade, 7th grade, we're seeing an uptick, and by 8th grade, we see an increase in their scores on math scores and STAR because they've been immersed in English.
Oh, I understand, and that's something certainly we can look into and further discuss as far as becoming a early exit instead of a late exit.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I don't think, I mean, we called them, I mean, we got them here and then we just throw them over there.
Yes.
With no support.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
I mean, what kind of recruiting efforts are we doing besides just the job fairs and stuff?
As I stated at the very bottom, I have reached out to outside contacts, other districts that are maybe currently looking to move closer to this area. Also by word of mouth. There are other teachers that are bringing in other bilingual certified teachers from other districts as well. And actually just showing them what we have and what we offer here.
Are you guys allowed to travel to like way across the state of Texas to go try to get these people, or even out of state? I know it probably doesn't make sense economically to ask somebody out of state to move here, but just in the try to double our recruiting efforts.
Yes, sir. No, well, the furthest I've traveled so far this year was to Kingsville, which is South Texas.
That's a long way, yeah.
Yes, it's a long way, and and we did have a few come to our table. It's selling them how, or telling them it's okay to come over here a little further away from their family. That's the challenge that we face.
And what kind of feedback are you getting from those people? Is it an issue of the pay for a bilingual certified, or?
Well, not necessarily. Sometimes it has to do with the family. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It has to do with family. Although some did express that they had some family in Houston, which later we talked about how Willis is closer to Houston for them, and I think I don't think it's money issue. I think it's the fact that they just don't want to leave home.
Okay.
At this point.
Well, thank you for all the effort you're putting into this program. I know it's challenging, but we appreciate you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Next item is consent agenda. Is there any consent agenda item that a board member wishes to discuss before taking action? Mr. Williams?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. At this time, we will now convene into closed session for the purpose of discussing following matters. A, discuss teacher resignations, consider approval for teacher appointments, Texas Government Code 551.074. Item B, discuss, consider professional Chapter 21 teachers and administrative contracts for 2024-2025, Texas Government Code 551.074. And C, discuss, consider professional non-Chapter 21 contracts for 2025-2026, Texas Government Code 551.074. Board meeting will now reconvene into open session. It is 8:10 p.m. Are there any motions from closed session? Mr. Williams.
Make a motion, we accept the superintendent's recommendation on the professional personnel listed.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Mr. Williams.
Make a motion, we accept the superintendent's recommendation on the 2025-2026 professional Chapter 21 contracts listed.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Mr. Williams.
Make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation on the 2025-2026 professional non-chapter 21 contracts as listed.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. So at this time, I would also like to announce the reclassification of Executive Director of Student Services and CTE to Executive Director of Human Resources. Congratulations, Mr. Travis Utek. So, congratulations. At this time, discussion and possible action items. Item A, discuss and consider approval of acceptance of 2025 through 2027 interactive online learning grant.
Good evening, Board, Dr. James and Ms. DeLosa. I come with really exciting news. We have, in the span of the last 2 years, we've adopted new science curriculum, new math curriculum, and RLA curriculum. And here is an exciting opportunity for our social studies. We have been awarded the 25-27 Interactive Online Learning Grant to support our social studies students in grades 6 through 12. So with this grant, we have been awarded that amount for 2 years. We have in our grant application identified Newsella as the product that we will bring into social studies at all 4 of our secondary schools next year. Why did we choose Newsella? Just quick facts. Students who use Newsella saw gains in approximately 5 percentiles relative to their peers. This is the equivalent of 3 additional months of literacy growth in ELA and 10 additional months of social studies instruction. Newsella students are building transferable literacy skills that can be applied across subjects in and out of the classroom. With this grant, we are able to provide Newsella to all 6th through 12th grade students for the next 2 years. This also comes with professional development money and money to provide substitutes so that our teachers are able to take the time to plan and really implement this product in our social studies classrooms. So, any questions?
Ms. Traylor.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the acceptance of the 2025 through 2027 interactive online learning grant for $299,926.20.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Williams. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item B, discuss and consider approval of additional sergeant position.
Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. James, and Ms. Daciana. In light of the evolving challenges within our educational environments, it is imperative to enhance the support and supervision of our school resource officers. I'm requesting the addition of a school resource sergeant to help oversee and bolster the effectiveness of the SRO division. Effective supervision is crucial for optimal law enforcement operations. An additional supervisor would allow for more manageable span of control, ensuring that deputies receive timely guidance and support. Research and best practice shows that the span of control for law enforcement first-line supervisors should range from 3 to no more than 8 deputies. Our current structure has 1 sergeant assigned to a campus who also acts as our district truancy officer, while also supervising 12 deputies at 11 different campus locations. Here's a look at what the organizational chart will look like if this additional sergeant was approved. The additional sergeant will allow us to split the deputies into north and south zones based on campus locations. This will allow direct supervision of major incidents and faster response time when a supervisor is needed. Investing in an additional school resource sergeant is a strategic decision that will enhance the effectiveness of our SRO division.
Jones.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve one additional sergeant as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thank y'all. You bet. Thank you, Wes.
Item C, discuss and consider approval to adopt order authorizing fees and redemption of certain outstanding obligations of the district and containing other related provisions.
Yes, sir. Good job. Good evening again. I am excited to present the board tonight for approval to an order of defeasance. Order of defeasance ultimately means that after review, the district has reviewed and is in the position to pay off some debt early with the goal of saving interest on future debt payments. The district worked with our financial advisor, Mr. Lucas Yonda, who is here tonight, and Ben Morse is our bond counsel. So if you have any really difficult questions, you can throw them their way. We work with them to identify a scenario that would maximize the amount of interest savings for the district by this early payoff. We are seeking approval of an amount just over $4,075,000 and are targeting bonds with a current maturity date of 2045, meaning that under the current schedule, there's still 20 years worth of payments on these specific bonds. If approved tonight, the target defeasance date is May 28th. We might shoot for a little sooner if possible. This view, I like this view because I believe it shows a clear picture of what we're looking at. This shows the schedule of payments for the bonds that we are targeting. This is the view if we did not move forward with this early payoff. These are the payments that we would be making on these specific bonds until 2045. So $7.2 million is the payments we would make over the next 20 years if we did not move forward with this defeasance. By moving forward now, we will effectively clear this debt off our books and realize the savings on the interest that we are currently scheduled to pay. So to summarize, by paying off just over $4,075,000 now, we will clear off $7.2 million off our books with a net savings of just over $3.1 million.
So this is for 2015 bonds?
Yes, sir. It is the bonds that we issued in relation to the 2016 issuance. So it was the 2015 election. We issued those bonds in 2016, and we've been paying those off. And so this is bonds related to that issuance. Yes, sir.
And this amount we're talking about right here will pay that bond off?
Yes, by paying the $4 million now, it will clear off the $7.2 million off of our debt schedule, and we'll save the $3.1 million in interest that we would pay if we do not move forward.
When you finish with your presentation?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion.
Yep.
Okay.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and adopt the order authorizing the defeasance and redemption of certain outstanding obligations of the district as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Great job. Item E, discuss, consider approval of action to adopt an order authorizing the issuance, sale, delivery, Willis Independent School District unlimited tax school building bonds in one or more series and containing other related matters.
Not to make you read that again, but I think we skipped one.
Yeah.
I get ahead of myself? All right, perfect, Gary, thank you. Just seeing if you were paying attention. Discuss, consider approval of debt service fund budgets for 2024-2025 budget year.
Yes, sir. With the newly approved bond defeasance, I am now requesting to amend the debt service fund budget accordingly. For the originally adopted budget, I plan to target a defeasance this year. However, with the current revenue projections surpassing the original projections, we're able to target the $4 million and beyond what I was originally projecting. So I'm requesting to amend the budget just over $1,020,000 to this budget to allow for that defeasance and the early payoff. So the budget of $27 million includes our originally scheduled payments and the defeasance to move forward.
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and amend the 2024-2025 debt service fund budget as presented.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Now we're gonna do E again. Discuss, consider approval of action to adopt an order authorizing the issuance, sale, delivery of Willis Independent School District unlimited taxable building bonds in one or more series containing other related matters.
Sir, last one, and then you're done with me. The district is seeking approval of a bond order for the next bond issuance. May of 2024, voters approved $102.7 million in Proposition A. And the board approved and the district issued $15 million of that in October 2024, and that was to fund the startup costs and the soft costs for the transportation and ninth grade center, which leaves $87.7 million left to issue from that election. We are now seeking approval to issue $45 million of the remaining 87. Working with Mr. Eaton on the project timeline and cash flow needs, the $45 million will fund the construction of the transportation center, the parking lot additions, and partial construction of the ninth grade center. The district will then plan to issue the remaining $42.7 in the summer of 2026. There are a few primary benefits to splitting up the issuance. One, as you saw earlier, if the trend remains consistent with interest rates continuing in the fall, the district could potentially realize lower interest rates in the summer of 2026, which would result in us paying less interest on those funds if we issue them at that time. I will say potentially, as we're dealing with market and economic rates, there's nothing set in stone, but the trend is certainly leaning that direction as far as interest rates falling. Also, by splitting the issuance, it helps the district avoid the lovely arbitrage situation and then the IRS fees. But lastly, it gives us another year of data to work with. We have another year of property values that we can evaluate, that we can then be strategic with how we structure that debt when we issue next summer. So to be more specific, the district is requesting approval for a bond order. The purpose of this order is to set parameters on the issuance. It sets the pricing officers, which is myself, Dr. James, and Mr. Hogemeyer. The amount not to exceed $45 million. True interest cost at 5.5. We do anticipate it being below this amount, but given these bonds go on the open market, this parameter is set slightly high in case something drastic happens between now and when we issue these bonds in end of May and June. Max term is 30 years, and of course the funds will be tied to the promises and projects outlined in the May 24 election. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and of course Mr. Yonda and Mr. Morris are here in case y'all want to ask them any really difficult questions.
Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and adopt an order authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of Willis Independent School District unlimited tax school building bonds in one or more series as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Gary, you okay if I go to F? F, discuss and consider approval of district-wide rekey job contract with Millennium Project Solutions.
Good evening. Willis ISD completed a job order contract walk on February the 20th. We had 5 vendors show up for the walk, and 2 of them bid the job. The rekey project will include a key machine, a Grand Master programming, 250 core, 1,000 blanks, 100 hardware sets for attic stock. They will install all the hardware on every door, unifying our key system. They will also clean up. The 2 vendors that responded, Millennium was the lower price at $1,171,570.68. If you have any questions.
Mr. Jones.
Sir, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the district-wide rekey contract with Millennium Project Solutions of $1,171,570.68.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? How often do we do this?
I
Do
would
we
hope.
know that have we done it? I mean, I don't remember since I've been on the board that we've done it, so
I have not heard that the district-wide project, I know that they rekey frequently, but this is to save time, money, and for safety purposes, there would be one key that would get into everything.
Perfect.
We've never standardized.
Yeah.
We've never standardized the whole district. It's been, as we build schools, different systems put in place, and this is standardizing every campus.
That's awesome.
Including the new campus?
Yes.
The new
Yeah.
campus will be put in place with this system in mind.
Okay.
Awesome.
And funding of this is both with that's what I think was really important, we didn't share about the funding for this.
So the funding for this is partial general fund, and we're also actually able to capture a portion on a grant. One of Megan's State Disciple grants.
So like 400,000?
The estimate's about $400,000. They specifically allow you to rekey exterior doors of instructional campuses. So we separated those costs out, and we can cover those costs under the grant to where it's less impact on the bond funds.
That's awesome.
We appreciate that.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Megan, that's why you're sitting by yourself, because you're the champion.
Yes, that's right. Champion.
Item G, discuss and consider approval of Select Gamma Construction as a general contractor for the 9th grade center.
As the final step to selecting a general contractor for the 9th grade campus, negotiations took place per the Texas Government Code 2269.253. We had several individuals submit proposals. 3 contractors. Gamma Construction was ranked the highest vendor by our evaluation team. Their fees are at the general conditions 2.79% and the CM at 1.49 for a total of 4.19% with pre-construction cost of $20,000. There we go, sorry.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to award the 9th grade campus general contractor's contract to Gamma Construction.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item H, discuss and consider approval of Pyrotech as a vendor for Willis multi-campus voice evacuation system.
Yes, Willis ISD is required to update their fire systems to include a voice evacuation system at Cannon, Turner, and Brabham Middle Schools. Willis ISD would like to work to complete this from now through the end of October. We received 2 responses to our CSP for this project, and an evaluation team ranked Pyrotech as the best value for the district at $349,817. This would.
So it won't be finished till October?
We hope we are hoping that it will be, the majority of that will be completed over the summer, but there is a chance that they will not get some of the parts for one particular campus in time. So they would look at a fall break, Thanksgiving break, possibly. Not Thanksgiving, that's after the day, but fall break.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to award Willis multi-campus voice evacuation contract to Pyrotech.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item I, discuss and consider approval of Willis ISD facility assessment contract to Huckabee.
So the purpose of an educational facility assessment, or EFA, is to measure the quality, the sustainability, the functionality, and the educational effectiveness of a school and their facilities. The facility company will utilize a comprehensive method tailored for elementary, middle, and high school educational levels, as well as support areas and those appraisal criteria, and categorize into divisions within the district. They will give us a priority list. There were we had multiple, I think 7 vendors submit to us, and we have chosen Huckabee at a cost of $49,500.
Mr. Carson.
Sorry, we finished.
Yes.
Got a few questions.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve Huckabee and Associates to complete the facilities assessment for Willis ISD.
Okay, we have a motion. Okay.
Yeah, can y'all talk a little bit about what this assessment's gonna really, the nuts and bolts of? Because I think it's important, you know, I've heard people in the community talk about the long-range plan, and this is what this is gonna do in each campus. It's really gonna show us where we're at, so if you could talk about it.
Yeah, the long-range plan will come after the facility assessment. So this will be the first phase of reestablishing what this district needs over long-term. The facility assessment will look at every campus and every building that the district has throughout the district. They will look at the interior of it, the exterior of it, the roofing, the foundation. They'll look at the electrical systems. They'll scan into the walls. They're using scanners and look at what our infrastructure looks like. They'll look at the assessment of everything, the floors, the ceilings, the lighting, everything that's inside and outside of these buildings. They will look at and make an assessment of it to see if these things need to be repaired in the future, or if it's worth repairing some of these properties. If these properties have additional services that we can be able to add on to, can we expand some of these? Would the cost of renovating outweigh the cost of rebuild? So everything you can imagine that you want to find out what's going to go on with these campuses, that's what they're going to be providing us. With that information, then we will go into the next phase of long-range planning. The long-range planning, off of those ideas and reports that they have, will give us the direction that we need to head and have a plan set forth moving forward of either expanding or building new campuses or renovating what we currently have. That's what this does.
And they're going to give us updates for 2 years?
Updates for 2 years.
Updates for the following 2 years? Yes, okay.
Okay.
And that, you know, does this assessment also include the old Roar building?
It will do, we're not doing the actual old ROARC classroom building, we're just gonna do the back half of it, not the old ROARC building itself. Just the new addition back there.
Yeah, I think what Paulette was asking, because in here it does say, the facility services company will conduct an EFA for the entire school district and provide updates for the following 2 years. This isn't for 2 years, though.
I thought it was a typo.
Yeah, that's what we just want, that's what I want to make sure we're clarifying that, yeah.
No, this will not be for 2 years. This will be a facility assessment that they hand to us. It will take 90 to 180 days to complete this, and once they hand that report to us, then their part of their contract will be completed. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The other thing to add to, if I can.
Okay.
Living, breathing documents. So we'll hand the report over to you, and then that will then be in your ownership to say, yes, we replaced all the ceilings, yes, all the lights were taken care of. So something that's continuously updated.
Yeah, it's not time bound, I guess. It's
No.
I mean, it's something that will be utilized and
Correct. This is just
predict
starting
and
from
project.
like guessing.
Well, I think it's a great thing because with our new gentleman starting in maintenance, it's really gonna be a good start for him with everything else, on knowing where he's at and what he needs to do forward. Does a great job.
So we have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further discussion? I think this is just a great opportunity, like Chad just said, for that. But we have so many people that are in administrative roles that have been in Willis for less than 2 or 3 years. And so I think this is just a perfect time to go as we're building these new things. Ms. Gibbons gave me crap about we gotta have a roadmap, we gotta have a plan. And so when we talk about things 10 and 15 years out, I think this is a good thing, so that say in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we're doing bonds, we can go and say, hey, we're gonna do upgrades to Cannon, or we're gonna do upgrades here and have it in those bond elections, but that we've got a long-term plan. So I think this is gonna be huge. I appreciate you guys bidding it, what I would call very aggressive, and so I appreciate that. No further discussion, all those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item J, discuss, consider approval of change order for Hellis Yates Field Landscape Turf Project.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Kyle, the board, Dr. James Daciana.
This is to discuss the change order for Hellis construction for the Yates Stadium scope change that we added over the summer. This project was adding an additional turf over there in the area next to the new handicap ramp we put in. At the time that we were putting this in, this project, we were under the impression of $50,000 versus $25,000, so we didn't feel that we needed to bring this to the board. Recently, we've realized that we have to bring this to the board because it's over the $25,000 threshold limit. So now we're bringing it up to you for approval for a change order to Hellas for this $39,200 for additional scope of work that we've added to them.
I like to change the scope, not so much change.
And we're asking for your approval to approve the $39,000 added scope change to Hellas.
Mr. Jones.
All right, I move to accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the change order to Hellas Construction contract for the Yates Stadium turf in the amount of $39,200.01. The new contract amount will be $768,720.01.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. If you haven't seen what that change order is for, it is a lifesaver. It'll save us that and just what our maintenance department was spending on power washing the dirt. Item K, discuss, consider approval for the change order for Hellas Willis High School track extension.
Yeah, this project was, we extended the track at the high school auxiliary field. We put the new starting blocks in there. As we were removing the soil under there, we found an electrical junction box about 2 foot under the ground. So we had to stop construction, and we paid Hellas, asking for a change order for Hellas for $6,815 to relocate that electrical junction box and pull new wire so they can continue on, and we opened up the track. So we're asking for your approval to approve a change order to Hellas for $6,815, which to add to their new contract with that change order, $121,040.09.
Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the change order for WHS track extension to Hellas Constructors at the cost of $6,815, which will be paid out of 2015 bond funds. This will bring the new contracted amount to $121,040.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion?
We can run 110-meter hurdles.
Yes, we can.
All right, we're good.
All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Board member comments.
Me personally, I want to thank every teacher, every principal, everybody, staffs, everybody, with all the tutoring that we're doing on Saturdays, early bird, late bird, get these kids ready for STAR. I saw the grind that y'all were putting in, and I can't tell you how much that means to me, because it really shows we're trying to get it there, right? And y'all are, and I appreciate that.
Okay, at this time, Dr. Lewis, you got a...
Yes, sir. I have to apologize to Ms. Deloso and Ms. Johnson. I left them out when I was up here earlier for the amount of work that they put in to prepare and help negotiate and coordinate the Lone Star Governance Training. So I want to thank Ms. Daciana Deloso and Ms. Madison Johnson for the work that they put in, and I won't forget next time.
It would have been very easy for her. I was just difficult. I'm not gonna lie. So, superintendent comments, future meetings.
Thank you so much. I do want to say thank you, Dr. Lewis, for being here and recognizing our board. I mean, and Ms. Delosa, I'll tell you, audience, that 16 hours is grueling, and there are very few districts across the state that actually complete that work, and it's a process, and you're going to see that as we then adopt our board goals for the future, the academic goals. Everything that we do will be about student achievement, and so I just want to say thank you to the board for that and echo everything he said. The other thing I want to say is, and our principals are gone, as they should be, but all of our campus and district staff, STAR started, and that's our playoff game, Coach, right? I mean, you have a wife that's in there, and it is our playoff game, and that is where we're looking to see all of the hard work and the efforts that we have been pouring into our students. And I can tell you, our teachers have poured into our students. And we're praying that we'll see good outcomes from that, because our adult behaviors are changing, right? And so I just want to say thank you for that. And lastly, so we can get home, is our next board meeting is going to be on May 14th. We are looking at a strategic planning session on that day at 4:30 with a board meeting at 5:30. And we are anticipating a special board meeting on May 30th at 8 a.m. Just with the timing of things. So just wanted to put those in your ears on that, and we'll be posting up the agendas with that. So thank you so much.
Mr. Williams. I have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? We are adjourned.